On November 18, 1978, American officials received a radio message from the middle of the Guyanese jungle. Bodies. Hundreds of them. By the time investigators reached the clearing, they found over 900 people lying together, arms around each other, in a compound called Jonestown. A third of them were children. They hadn't been attacked by an enemy. They hadn't died of disease. They had followed the voice of one man, all the way to the end. This is the story of how a preacher who promised paradise built a machine for mass death. Jim Jones didn't start as a monster. He started as a preacher with a message that, on paper, sounded almost admirable. In the 1950s in Indianapolis, Jones founded a church called the People's Temple. At a time when segregation still shaped American life, Jones preached racial equality, and it worked. His congregation grew into one of the most racially integrated in the country, drawing thousands of black families who felt genuinely welcomed for the first time. In the 1960s, Jones moved his growing church to California. He built homes for the elderly, fed the poor, and positioned himself as a civil rights leader. By the 1970s, he had enough political influence to be appointed to a city housing commission in San Francisco. But behind the public image, something else was building. Former members and journalists began reporting a darker pattern: financial control over followers, physical punishment, and a leader who demanded absolute loyalty. As the accusations mounted, Jones made his move. He told his congregation the U.S. government and the media were conspiring against them. The only way to be safe, he said, was to leave the country entirely. Guyana, on the northern coast of South America, seemed like the perfect answer. Remote, English-speaking, and far from the scrutiny Jones was trying to escape. Around 1,000 followers made the journey with him, believing they were building a genuine utopia, an agricultural commune, free from racism, free from the pressures of American life. The reality on the ground told a different story. According to those who survived, the jungle soil was too poor to sustain the farming Jones had promised. Food was often scarce. Workdays stretched long, and armed guards patrolled the compound. Isolation became control. Passports were confiscated. Outside mail was read and censored. Members who tried to leave were, according to survivor accounts, physically prevented from doing so. And every night, over loudspeakers, Jones's voice filled the camp: sermons, threats, and a recurring message. Forces from the outside world were coming to destroy them, and only he could keep them safe. By 1978, enough families back in the United States had grown worried about relatives inside Jonestown that a U.S. Congressman decided to see it for himself. Leo Ryan flew to Guyana with journalists and concerned relatives, arriving on November 17th. At first, the visit seemed almost warm. A tour of the compound, dinner, a musical performance by temple members. But the next day, quietly, a group of Jonestown residents approached the delegation and asked for something Jones never expected: to leave with them. Jones was shaken. Before the delegation could depart, one of his own lieutenants attacked Ryan with a knife. Ryan survived unharmed, but Jones had already made his decision. The delegation would not be allowed to leave alive. As Ryan's group reached the airstrip at Port Kaituma, armed temple members opened fire. Congressman Leo Ryan was killed, along with a photographer, an NBC cameraman, a reporter, and a temple member who had tried to defect. One gunman, Larry Layton, had boarded the plane pretending to be a defector himself. Once inside, he pulled out a hidden pistol and shot 2 people before being overpowered. Leo Ryan remains to this day the only sitting U.S. congressman ever killed in the line of duty in American history. Back at Jonestown, word reached Jones that Ryan was dead. He gathered his followers into the main pavilion. There was no turning back now. What happened next was recorded. Jones's own voice survives on an audio tape now known as the death tape. Over 40 minutes of him instructing his followers to die, calling it, in his words, a revolutionary act. Parents were told to feed a cyanide-laced drink to their own children first. Then adults lined up to drink it themselves as armed guards stood at the edges of the pavilion. A few managed to escape into the surrounding jungle. A handful of others survived simply because they were elsewhere in the camp that day. When investigators arrived the following morning, the scale of what they found was almost impossible to process. A settlement of hundreds silent. The final death toll, 909 people. Over 300 of them were children under the age of 18. Jonestown didn't happen because 900 people were foolish or weak-minded. It happened because isolation, fear, and total control were built up over years, one small step at a time, until leaving no longer felt possible. That's what makes this story more than just history. It's a warning about how easily total devotion can be engineered when someone is isolated from every voice except one. The phrase "drinking the Kool-Aid" entered the English language after that day, usually said casually without anyone remembering what it actually came from. 909 people, over 300 of them children. A tragedy that started decades earlier with a preacher who simply wanted to be believed.